One of the simplest ways to increase the sticky factor of your membership and make it a place that people just do not want to leave is by signposting future value. If you want to know what I mean by that and you want practical tips for how to utilize this technique to get members to stick around month after month, year after year, then you're going to want to pay attention to this episode.
You're listening to the Membership Guys podcast, bringing you proven, practical tips and advice from the leading experts on growing a successful membership business each and every week. And now, here's your host, Mike Morrison.
Hello there, membershippers. You are listening to the Membership Guys podcast, and I am one half of the Membership Guys, Mike Morrison, your host for the show. Today, we're talking all about how to make your membership stickier by signposting future value. I'm going to explain what that means, what that term means, and what it actually looks like in terms of your membership. But first of all, I just want to thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to the show. If you have just found the podcast, this is your first time listening. First of all, welcome. I'm so glad you found us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button in your podcast app to ensure you do not miss a single weekly dose of proven practical tips and advice on growing a successful membership business. Those of you who've been with us for a while, you know what's in store. You know that we deliver the goods each and every week for you. If you have a spare moment, it would mean so much if you could take just a minute or two to leave a nice review, preferably with 5 shiny stars, in iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever it is you're listening to the show. First of all, just to let us know that we're doing our jobs, that we're helping you, that we're making a difference in your membership business and that you enjoy what we do. But also, secondly, to enable us to reach more people. More reviews means more exposure to audiences that maybe we're not yet reaching and who we could be helping to achieve success with their membership. And that is ultimately why we do what we do. Begging over on with the show. Okay, we're talking about some simple ways to signpost the future value of your membership. So what do I actually mean by that? What do I mean signposting the future value? Well, we like to say that memberships are a value exchange. If you want people to pay you on an ongoing basis, you need to deliver value on an ongoing basis. Now, that value will come from results, it'll come from wins, it'll come from transformation, it'll come from the connections people form and so on. But also for most online memberships, that value, or certainly the perception of that value, will come from the content that you are releasing into your membership. New courses, new trainings, new live Q&As, new webinars, member challenges, that sort of thing. Membership owners typically don't do a good enough job of making noise and sowing the seeds for what's ahead. And so because of that, typically, if someone is thinking about leaving your membership site and they're mulling over that decision, generally they're going to be thinking about what have they had so far? What value have they had up until that point? So what courses have they consumed? What training have they used? What have they implemented? What results have they got? They're making the decision about whether to stay or go based on their history with your membership. What has it done for me up until this point? What have I had? What content have I had? What value have I had up until now? But if you signpost the future value that is coming in your membership, so you ensure that there's an awareness of what's in the pipeline, what's coming up in the future, what courses are going to be released, what events are scheduled, what features are being worked on. If you do that, you signpost that future value. So you just make people just constantly aware. You have that raised level of awareness about what's coming up. Then the decision about whether to stay or go becomes trickier, because not only do people have to reflect on the value that they've had so far, they also have to consider what they might miss out on if they decide to leave today. That creates a little bit of pain of disconnect, or FOMO, fear of missing out. because it's not just about people thinking, okay, this has been great so far. I've had all these courses that I've gone through. I've been able to do X, Y, and Z. I haven't really done too much with them recently, so I'm going to leave. If they then also have to think, but I saw that there's this great new workshop coming up in 3 weeks' time, and the next guest expert is coming in next month. That's someone I really want to learn from. And they've been sharing some behind-the-scenes photographs of this amazing new tool, amazing new feature that they're adding later in the year. All of those things then enter the fray in the decision-making process about whether someone's going to stay or whether someone's going to leave. That makes the decision to leave harder, which helps you, which makes it more likely that someone will decide to stick around so that they don't miss out on this fantastic value, this fantastic stuff that's coming further down the line. But of course, those of you who have been in the membership game will know that the true value doesn't come from the stuff. The true value doesn't come from just having lots of content, having lots of bells and whistles. The true value comes from the results people achieve, the wins that they get, the change that your membership makes. And you can signpost what's to come with those areas too. We'll talk about that a little bit later on as well. So it's pretty clear why you should be signposting the future value of your membership. It creates fear of missing out. It makes that decision of whether to stay or go a bit more difficult because there's so much more to weigh up based on what they'll lose future access to if they leave today. So I'm going to talk through some of the simplest ways in which you can signpost that future value and raise the awareness of what is coming up. The simplest is to have an upcoming content list somewhere on your website. Perhaps it's a little widget in the sidebar of your member dashboard where you actually literally just have a list of the next 5 things that are going to be added to the membership with a date next to each of them. Very, very simple to do. You could literally pause this podcast right now, go away and have it done within a few minutes if you know what is coming down the pipeline. And of course, this whole approach requires you to be organized enough to know what your next few pieces of content are, but hopefully you already have that taken care of. So just adding a little section in the sidebar of your dashboard, at the bottom of the dashboard, just listing out the next 4 or 5 pieces of content or live calls or whatever the main deliverables of your membership. What are they going to be? What's the title of them? Try and make the title intriguing and value driven. So, how to lose an extra 6 pounds this week with protein shakes. You can tell I'm not a fitness enthusiast because I'm sure some of you are listening. You couldn't possibly lose 6 pounds on protein shakes, but you know what I mean? You're titling this upcoming content based on results, based on what it'll help people achieve. So it's a little more intriguing, which makes it more compelling, which makes it more enticing to stick around for, and put a specific date. Or if you don't want to commit to a set date, so the further ahead in the future your upcoming content plans are, perhaps the less likely you are to commit to a fixed release date, but you can put something like early February, mid-March, late June, something like that, just to put some sort of time frame on it to set those expectations, and again, to give people a little more to think about if they are considering leaving today. So have that upcoming content list somewhere on your site. Now, most websites, most memberships that have content, that have courses, tutorials, whatever, will have some sort of content library. So a main page where all of that content is listed out, people can search, they can filter, they can navigate through your whole library. Now, one great way of showcasing what's coming up is adding a listing for your upcoming content into that library. So typically your library will only consist of what is available now, but you can add courses that are coming up next week, next month, whatever, into the library with a little banner across them that says coming soon. So that might be something that's on the thumbnail graphic in the library. You have an image for that training, for that workshop, and you have banner going across the middle of it with the words either coming soon, coming January, coming next week. And you have those as part of the library and even have them at the top. So the very top, or the first few listings within your library. Again, just to show this is a placeholder, which means this is real, which means this is coming, which means this is worth waiting for. Again, just raises that awareness level. Now, whether or not you can do this will depend on the tech that you are using and whether it has the option. But even if you don't have the ability to literally put like a text banner across something, there are workarounds. If you're using a course platform, again, you just put the text on the image, the thumbnail image for that piece of content. You maybe put the words coming soon in the title of that course, and then you add the course, but you just don't add any lessons. And if anyone clicks through to it, then you can put a bit of blurb about what's coming up, what to expect, and when it'll be released. So there are workarounds. If you're using the member-only theme, which we offer to members of Membership Academy, then the course system that is part of the member-only theme actually has the ability to set a piece of content as inactive, which means it'll be shown on your website, it'll be shown in your library page, but it can't be clicked through to. It's there as coming soon. And you can put whatever text you want on a little banner that goes over the top of the listing to say, coming soon, coming next week, stay tuned, whatever you want to do to tease the upcoming release of that content and to raise the awareness that there's something awesome about this specific topic that's going to help people get the specific result. It's coming further down the line, so you don't want to leave the membership because it means you'll miss out on that. So make sure you've got an upcoming content list. Look at ways in which you can include upcoming content in your library with some sort of indicator that this is coming soon. You should also be promoting regularly the upcoming content for your membership or upcoming events across your social media channels and inside your member community. So what we like to do at the beginning of every month, we actually create a graphic on which we list out essentially dates for your diary. So coming up this month. So the start of every month, we put that graphic out with some promo language on our social media channels. The graphic has the dates and the times and the names of either content, workshops, live Q&As, whatever, and that is labeled under what's coming up in February, what's coming up in March inside the Academy. You can send this out across all of your social media channels and inside your member communities. Not only does it mean that your members are going to see these reminders and see this kind of advertisement of that month's schedule on your social channels, it also means non-members are seeing it, which can be great for you on the marketing front too, because maybe the general public, people who are following you on your social channels but they're not members, maybe they don't realize that your membership does live Q&As. Maybe they don't realize that you actually put on a guest training every single month. And so if they see this monthly schedule of upcoming content, dates for your diary coming up this month in the membership, if they see that on your social channels, that might actually entice them to come along and join, particularly if one of the topics of the content that's coming up is something that really piques their interest. Something that the guys over at Digital Marketer do on this front that I really like is they actually do video trailers every quarter. So they will produce a kind of a high quality trailer advertising what is coming up this quarter inside DM Lab. So they'll maybe include little video clips of some of the workshops that they've been putting together or some of the courses they've got. They'll have a presenter actually talking through what's ahead. And again, it's the same idea. You're setting the expectations, you're setting the schedule, you're letting people know what's coming up, and you're putting it out there publicly, so that not only will your members see it, because remember, when someone joins your membership, they don't suddenly stop following you on your social media channels. They don't suddenly lose any awareness of anything that's going out to non-members. So your members are still seeing your public social media too. So you want to get these little promotions on your social media channels. Again, it's not heavy promotion, but it's regular and it's advertising the schedule for the next month, the schedule for the next quarter, or whatever. Another great way of signposting that feature value is using your weekly member digest email. Now, that one of the things that we do that is huge for engagement, huge for member experience within the Academy, is we send out a weekly member-only email newsletter. Really simple thing to do, but a lot of people don't do this. It's a weekly email that goes out just to members, in which we round up any news from the Academy, any highlights from the community, so any discussions that are particularly popular. We highlight member success stories, member wins, and we tell people about content that is coming up further down the pipeline. We give them dates. We give them specifics on content that's releasing in the next week, any live calls that are taking place. We'll give teasers about bigger courses or bigger projects or features that we're working on that might be coming a few months down the line. So again, it's all largely the same thing. It's just making use of different channels and different ways of reaching your members. Having a section on your dashboard and in your content library for the people who are going to be on your website, having something on social media for the people who follow you there, making sure it's mentioned in email for the people who read your member newsletter. So when you're covering all these bases and signposting that future value, you just raise, again, that level of awareness that there's great stuff coming down the line, but also you're reminding people that this membership, what you see today, that's not it. This membership will continue to deliver stuff to you. There's always something coming. We're always committed to helping you get results. We're always finding ways to help you out. You're reminding people of the difference between this and a course or a program that you buy where nothing gets added, nothing changes. You're reminding them that this is this living, evolving, improving product. It's a community. It's something they're part of that is going to always be getting better, be delivering value on an ongoing basis. You're making sure people remember that. And again, this weighs into their decision about whether they want to stay or whether they want to go. You can also be using your social media and your newsletters, even posting in your community to share behind the scenes sneak peeks of any content you're working on. So if you're producing a course and maybe you're preparing slides that are going to be part of that course, you could take photographs of your computer screen or maybe, your notebook where you've been scribbling notes and share them on your social channels inside your membership to, again, just give those little teasers to let people know that you're working on something exciting that's coming on down the line and to give them a reason to stick around. If you do a lot of live content, so Q&As, live webinars, and so on, you can actually have a literal calendar with reminders for any live sessions that are coming up. Again, that's something we do in the Academy on our dashboard. Right at the top left when people log in, we've got the dates and the times for our next live calls, and we've got a clever little button that if people click on it, it'll add a reminder into their calendar. So Gmail calendar, Apple calendar, whatever, and that'll ping them 15 minutes before, or I think it might actually be an hour or so before they can set the time duration. It'll ping them on their device. This live thing is about to start. Make sure you don't miss it. Again, that's something that's not too difficult to do if you're a member of Membership Academy. We have a quick win on how to use the service called addevent.com, which will enable you to do that. If your membership includes any sort of tools or software or products, templates, website themes, anything like that, you might also have a feature roadmap. So you might actually lay out, these are our plans for improvements, changes, additions that we're going to make to this particular tool for the next 12 months. Here's when you can expect them. That's something that's fairly common when it comes to software. It's something that we've done with the member-only theme. Again, it just lets people know we're always working on this. There's always a reason to be subscribed because we're always going to be improving it. And actually, here are some of the exciting specific stuff that we're working on. And that thing that everyone's been wanting, that's coming. It's coming up in October. That thing you always wished you could do, that's also coming. It's coming next month. So having that kind of feature roadmap for any tools, any software, any products that your membership offers, again, kind of repeating ourselves, it's showcasing, it's signposting what's ahead, and it's moving the thought process to what I might miss out on, what I will lose access to in the future if I leave. They're not looking backwards, they're looking forwards. And you can incorporate this sort of future pacing into the content itself by creating what is called open loop content. So this could be where you teach a particular technique or a particular method or whatever over a series of 3 live workshops. So you break the subject down into 3 parts, and then this month is part 1, next month is part 2, the month after that is part 3. You call those open loops because you start something, you open that loop, you start the loop, that won't then be closed until the next installment. In the next installment, you open that loop, and then that gets closed in the installment after that. So if you've broken something down into a 3-part workshop, at the end of workshop 1, you open that loop by talking about, okay, so now you know how to do this. In the next part of this workshop, we are going to be teaching you how to do this, 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 and this. That's the loop being open. That's the cliffhanger, essentially, that you get in soap operas. In the next workshop, you pick up where you left off. You close that loop by addressing what you promised in the last, the first installment. And then at the end of that part, okay, so next time, we're going to be looking into this, 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 and this. You've just learned how to do this. In the next part, we're going to show you how to apply what you've learned to this situation. So you're opening that loop, you're giving that cliffhanger, you're giving that reason to stick around for the next part. So that open loop content, again, it's just those teasers, just those enticements, just that reason to hang around. So you've got that serial content, which is just breaking things down into multiple parts that are released month to month. You've got those open loop cliffhangers that you can put into your content as well, that you can combine with the serial release of content. You can also drip feed courses. So drip feeding essentially means you are taking a big course that might have 20, 30 lessons in it, and you're releasing either individual lessons or modules, one part at a time. So rather than giving someone the entire course to consume all at once, when they first join your site, they maybe have access to the first module of 5 or 6 lessons. And then the second module only unlocks in week 2. The third module unlocks in week 3. The fourth module unlocks in week 4 or month 4, however long you want to set the schedule out for. So again, you're making it essentially so someone needs to stay subscribed in order to gain full access to all of this material. Now, drip feeding your content in this way is something that you need to get the balance right, because you don't want to be only drip feeding content purely to keep people on the hook for longer. But there's a big argument to be made by keeping people focused on going through the process at a pace that will actually help them to implement, and also keeping them focused by making it so that they can't just rush ahead or skip, from module 1 to module 5 because that's the one that sounds most exciting. But that drip feeding, again, if done right, can aid the educational process, and also just so happens to be a great way of signposting that future value and giving people a reason to stick around. So plenty of different ways in which you can signpost that future value. You can make people aware of what's coming up and why they should remain a member. So having that upcoming content list somewhere in your site, on your dashboard, including your coming soon content in your library. Running little social media campaigns and messages once a month or once a quarter where you're advertising any dates for the diary, what's going to be ahead in the membership for this month, for this quarter. Maybe even doing what digital marketers do and doing a video trailer where you preview what is coming up. Having a weekly member digest. So again, sending that weekly newsletter just to your members is a fantastic and simple way of improving engagement right across the board. So if you're doing that, and indeed we have covered this on the Membership Guys podcast in the past, but if you're sending that, one of the things you absolutely should be including in that is details of any content that's coming up in the future. Making sure you're giving people a glimpse behind the scenes as you're putting content together, your planning process, producing the slides, maybe being on a Zoom call with the next month's expert. Perhaps you blur their face and ask your members, can you guess who our next expert is? Again, getting that excitement going by having the teasers for stuff that's coming further on down the line. Again, gets people on the hook, makes them more likely to stay. Having a calendar with reminders that people can use for live sessions that are coming up. Using a feature roadmap, a development roadmap, if your membership offers any tools, any tech, templates, and so on. Maybe even doing a regular member news show. So one thing we do in the Academy is the Academy Show. It's a weekly video show that we record, myself, Callie, on camera, giving a recap of everything that's happened, doing a little member spotlight, and talking about what's coming up next month. And also incorporating those open loops in your content. Maybe looking at creating series of your content where rather than dumping one big giant bit of content on someone, you break it up into multiple parts that get released over time. Perhaps even drip feeding your course lesson by lesson, module by module, to spread it out a little bit, but also to give people a reason to stick around and consume and get access to the future part of that course. So lots of ways in which you can signpost that future value. You can raise the awareness level of the fact that there's always amazing stuff coming on down the line. And so anytime you're thinking about leaving, man, think about what you're going to miss out on. You want that to be a factor in people's decisions. It's not going to stop people from leaving, but it's certainly going to make your membership a little stickier. And we mentioned at the beginning of this episode, the true value of a membership isn't about the stuff. It's not just about the content. For a lot of people, the perception of value, the feeling that they're getting their money's worth might come from knowing what content's coming up, how much content they've got, and all that sort of stuff. But the true value from a membership comes from the things that the content enables, the results, the wins, the success stories. So again, while you're doing all of this, while you're making sure people always know what content's coming up, you should also be showcasing success stories, showcasing member wins, creating case studies from members who have achieved fantastic results, and making sure that you are sharing these with your member base, you're using them in your public content, because not only is that going to demonstrate that your membership is a one that helps people get where they want to go, but it shows your members what is possible. It shows what could lie ahead in their future, what successes, what wins they could get if they stick around too. And honestly, that is worth so much more than just extra content. So make sure that yes, you're showcasing and you're signposting the future value in terms of what content is coming up, but you're also setting the scene. For the sort of results your members could get. You're giving them a glimpse at a possible future that they could have in terms of outcome, transformation, result, win, if they actually apply the content that is being released. They actually work through the resources and utilize them in order to reach their ultimate goal. So you've got a plethora of ideas for how you can start signposting the future value of your membership. Most of this you can start doing right now, so make sure that you do that. I promise you it'll move the needle in terms of how sticky your membership is, and ultimately that's going to help you with member retention too. All right, that is it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please do let me know. I always love to hear how you guys are utilizing the advice from the show. Give me a shout on social media. On Twitter, it's @membershipguys. On Instagram, it's @membershipguy, singular. Callie's doing her own thing on the gram, so it's @membershipguy. Or on Facebook, you can find our page at Membership Guys, or even better, come and join us in our free Facebook group. Search for Membership Mastermind on the Facebook app, or just go to talkmemberships.com and that'll redirect you to the group. There's over 18,000 people in there, and we're always discussing stuff like this and each podcast episode. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, love to hear your feedback, love to hear what you're already doing, what changes you've made to your strategy, and whether it's made a difference. Love to hear your feedback on this stuff. All right, that is it. I'm out of here. I'll be back again next week with another installment of the Membership Guys podcast.